clear underneath the sink and lift out any shelves. Next, we need to turn off the hot and cold water. If the pipes supplying your existing tap have isolating valves, you can simply turn the water off by turning the screw head or handle on the valve so it's at a right angle to the flow of the pipe. A parallel position means on. If you don't have isolating valves, now's the ideal time to fit them.
You can get flexible hoses with this type of valve attached. Just make sure you get the right size for your tap.
First, we need to turn off the cold water at the main stopcock. Ours is located here under the sink, but yours may be located somewhere else. It may be located underneath the stairs, in a cloakroom, or perhaps in the garage. In older properties with timber floors, it may even be located under the floorboards. Turn the stopcock off fully by turning the handle clockwise. A stopcock can sometimes be stiff to operate because it's not used on a daily basis. If your stopcock is difficult to move, don't use excessive force on the handle because you could shear the handle or the valve spindle. Ask a B&Q in-store advisor or a plumber for further advice. Once the stopcock is off, check the tap is isolated by turning on the kitchen tap. A small amount of water should drain out for up to a minute, but not much longer than this. If there is still flow, then either you haven't found the correct stopcock or the stopcock is faulty. In some houses, like this one, the hot water is also isolated when the main stopcock is off. This applies where a combination boiler, instantaneous water heater, or unvented hot water storage cylinder is fitted. If you have a hot water storage cylinder in an airing cupboard and a cold water storage tank in your loft, you will need to turn off the hot water supply to the hot water cylinder. This will stop the water coming out of the taps. The isolation valve will normally have a round red handle and is typically located just above the top of the cylinder on the 22mm pipe that is connected to the bottom cylinder. Once you have turned off the hot and cold supplies as necessary, go back to the tap and check that no water is coming out. With the water off, unscrew the nuts that attach the waste pipework to the sink. You will probably need to undo some other fittings as well to enable you to temporarily remove part of the waste pipework to give you enough room to work. If you do this, have a bucket or bowl ready to catch water trapped in the U-bend or pipework and carefully set the removed pipework and fittings aside for reuse.
A head-mounted torch is a useful aid for working under the kitchen sink.
Next, we need to disconnect the hot and cold pipes that supply the tap. These are compression fittings, so we'll use adjustable wrenches to undo the nuts. Use one wrench to hold and support the fitting and another wrench to loosen the nut on the tap side of the fitting. Next, we need to loosen the clips that hold the sink in place. The clips are right up under the worktop, so it's usually easier to lie on your back so that you can see the clips as you're loosening them. If you do this, wear eye protection to stop debris or tools accidentally falling into your eyes. Now we're ready to lift the sink out. Depending on how the sink was installed, you may need to carefully cut through the sealant around the edge of the sink with a craft knife and use a scraper to lever and coax it up, taking care not to damage your work surface. Then just lift it out in one piece. Wear gloves when handling stainless steel sinks because the edges can be very sharp.
Clean off any old sealant from around the edges of the worktop and clean the worktop with a suitable liquid kitchen cleaner.
If you need to enlarge or alter the cutout in the worktop, you can do this using a jigsaw fitted with a downcut wood blade to prevent the worktop from chipping. Cover any open pipework before you start using the jigsaw. If the worktop you're cutting is made of chipboard, you'll need to seal all the exposed edges with silicone sealant or a suitable waterproof sealant so the worktop doesn't expand and need replacing. Luckily, we don't need to alter this cutout.